Hello, we are Group 1, and we are presenting on international business as an architecture for global value creation. Now, our argument is quite simple. We are saying international business is not just about operating in many countries. It is about designing a coherent global architecture, aligning entry mode, organizational structure, and the balance between global integration and local responsiveness. When these elements align, firms create value, and when they do not, firms fail. Now, we are going to talk about what makes international business different. Managing domestically is complex, but international business is fundamentally different. Domestic firms operate within one legal system, one cultural environment, and one institutional framework. International firms operate across multiple systems simultaneously. This creates three major challenges. One, liability for foreigners. International firms automatically face disadvantages compared to local competitors. They lack relationships, legitimacy, and deep market knowledge. Second, there is cultural and institutional distance. The greater the difference between countries, the greater the risk of misunderstanding, regulatory conflict, and strategic error. Now, lastly, coordination and control. Coordination and control. Headquarters design global strategies, but subsidiaries understand local realities. This creates tension and information gaps. So therefore, international business is not simply bigger business, but it requires deliberate structural design. Now, let's talk about international business management as an architecture. Think of a company like a building. A building needs strong foundation, a clear framework, and a coherent design. In IBM, these correspond to entry mode as the foundation, organizational structure as the framework, and integration as the responsiveness balance. If one pillar is weak, the entire structure suffers.
Entry mode as a strategy design choice. Entry mode is a structural lock in that determines where power resides, how knowledge flows, and whether the firm can pivot from a strategic perspective. Today's entry mode dictates tomorrow's strategic opinions. Entry mode is not just about how you enter a market, it determines control, learning, and long term flexibility. For example, exporting offers low control. Licensing surrenders brand control. Joint venture share risks but requires negotiation. Wholly owned subsidiaries after full control but full risks. If a firm wants short-term profit, low control modes may work. If it wants learning and long-term capabilities, deeper involvement is required. Now, organizational structure and global coordination. Structures is the vehicle for strategy. It determines what the firm can do and cannot do. From a strategic perspective, the right structure amplifies strategy. The wrong structures strangles it. Common global structures. Strategic fit. Structures enable strategic fit, constraints or trade-offs. International division, international expansion limits global integration. Global products, global efficiency sacrifices local responsiveness. A global product structure increases efficiency but may ignore local needs. A geographical structure increases local responsiveness but may reduce global scale. A matrix or transitional structure tries to achieve both tries to achieve both but may sacrifice speed and clarity. Structures either amplify strategy or resist it. Structures' role in coordination and knowledge. If strategy prioritizes, structure fits, but sacrifices global efficiency, global products, local responsiveness. Local responsiveness, global area scale, both metric speed, initial expansion, international division, integration. Now, global integration versus local responsiveness. The strategic dilemma. Global integration, efficiency, local responsiveness, adaptation. Drivers. Should firms establish global or efficiency or adaptation, adapt locally for relevance? Global integration reduces cost and ensures consistency, but it risks ignoring local differences. Local responsiveness satisfies customer and regulations, but it may duplicate efforts and increases cost. According to Christopher Bartlett and Sumrata Ghoshal, successful firms must achieve three things: global efficiency, local responsiveness, worldwide learning. The goal is balance, not choosing one over the other.
Okay. Case insights, success versus failure. When we compare companies like IKEA and Best Buy, we see the importance of architecture. IKEA treated local differences as valuable information. It adapted where necessary while maintaining global efficiency. Best Buy, however, over-integrated. It tried to replicate its home model without sufficient adaptation and eventually exited certain markets. The lesson is clear. Failure often follows architectural misfits. Success follows alignment. Contemporary relevance. Today, architecture matters even more. Digitalization reduces coordination costs, but it also exposes structural weaknesses faster. Geopolitical uncertainty means firms must build resilience, not just efficiency. A centralized structure may be efficient, but it can also create single points of failure. Architecture determines not just growth, but survival. So, let me conclude by reinforcing our core insights. International business management is architectural. Entry mode determines control and learning. Structured shapes coordination and knowledge flow. Integration responsiveness balance defines strategic direction. Sustainable competitive advantage in international market does not come from functional excellence alone. It comes from architectural coherence. When a system fits together, things grow. When it does not, they struggle or exit. Thank you.